Hello indie game fans! As Thanksgiving rolls around, new releases have dried up, so a pretty port heavy week, and there will only be one such video this week. So we start off with Greed, the beautiful platformer from Nomada Studio that made waves last year, finally gets ported to PS4 and is a story about a young woman dealing with a painful experience. The watercolor art style is simply beautiful and sure is an experience to behold. One of the best platformers in recent memory and highly recommended if you have not given it a shot. Arrow is a local multiplayer twin-stick shooter where you try to take out your friends in a variety of arenas and game modes. Very simple and clean in presentation, but it looks pretty awesome as well. End of Realms is a turn-based RPG inspired by classic fantasy board games, so plenty of adventure, choices and combat in a classic high fantasy world. There are equipment and loot, turn-based combat, and a very well done hand-painted art style. Looks very classic in design and should be a good time. The open world survival crafting action adventure RPG, Pine, makes the launch on Switch after an earlier release on Steam in October, and its most prominent feature is a living, breathing open world with different factions and NPCs that are well simulated and feel as if the world does carry on even without the player being there. In a world where humans never became the top of the food chain, we have anthropomorphic crocodiles and moose battling for supremacy. However, there are some gripes with regards to the core game design, so perhaps read some reviews before making your decision. This is an interesting one since Fantasy Monarch is a decidedly old-school isometric RPG where you play as an adventurer or a party of adventurers traversing the world, getting in fights, and seeking out treasure. Very interesting visual look that is retro as all heck. One of my all-time favorite platformers, Electronic Super Joy, makes the launch on Switch, which has a super awesome silhouetted look, very challenging platforming, and one of the best soundtracks in games to back it up. Precision on controls is needed to execute all of the platforming required, but generous checkpoints, the thumping music, and just awesome feeling controls makes this excellent. Dashbot Ninja is a stylish action game where you play as a ninja slicing and dicing your way through the robotic henchmen of an evil corporation. While the black, white and red color scheme is perhaps overused by now, the time trial aspect seems pretty neat, with time even stylishly freezing when you make contact with an enemy. Very slick, but I'm curious about the difficulty. Hey, remember NYAN Cat? The meme sensation from 2011 for some reason had its own game, which is somehow being ported to Switch in 2019. NYAN Cat, Lost in Space, is an endless runner where you collect milk, donuts, cookies and more to gain power-ups, avoid enemies, and visit parallel universes in this high-score chase of a game. It is a pretty old game by this point, with mobile being one of its main platforms, so the age really does show, but could be a nostalgia trip for some.
the abstainers. That's what the abstainers look like? They look just like the guy who's got the dots in his eyes causing all this trouble. Shut the Trover, no one needs to hear your commentary about everything.
The foul-mouthed, creepy as all hell action-adventure game, Trover Saves the Universe launches on Switch and is a world where eyeballs have eyeballs of their own. The creepy, Patrick Star but purple villain, Glaucon, has kidnapped your dogs and shoved them into his eye sockets and are using their life essence to destroy the universe. One of the co-creators of Rick and Morty is involved in this project, so a similar sense of humor, but it's weird, freaky, and pretty well received. Dangerous Blaster is a simple-looking, single-screen bullet hell shooter where you have to run, roll, and shoot in order to survive as long as possible. Dangerous aliens will spawn, as will a multitude of projectiles and lasers, all on your quest for the high score.
The long-awaited sequel to the mutant blasting action-adventure game, Blaster Master Zero.
Blaster Master Zero 2 finally comes to Steam after a launch on Switch in March 2019 and is an interesting design holdover from the earlier title, mixing top-down action-adventure gameplay with side-scrolling Metroidvania-esque platforming and different planets to explore. Being from Indie Creates, perhaps it is not so indie after all, but a curiosity nonetheless and pretty well received if I'm not wrong. Really love the look.
Trusted friends or bitter enemies.
Not usually a fan of horror games, but Fear the Dark Unknown is a survival horror title that does look very much like old-school Resident Evil. Taking place within a cursed mansion with 200 years of history, experience this creepy location as either a father or his daughter in 2 unique playthroughs. While the hallmarks like the fixed camera system are there, it is difficult to live up to the juggernauts in the genre, so keep an eye on reviews. NYAN Noodles Cyberpunk Kitchen Automation is an automation-focused puzzle simulation game, much like Automa Chef, where you have to position and program your robots in order to prepare and serve the food as efficiently as possible. I always get in such a deep hole with these sorts of games, so another one on the pile to check out. If you love stories, Where the Water Tastes Like Wine will be your cup of tea. Also making the launch on Switch, this is set in Depression-era United States where you play as a skeleton, wandering the land to collect stories, which then become a currency of its own. And telling the right story to the right person reveals the true self of the person that you are talking to. Love the art style, and there's something magical about storytelling that is really captivating. Woefully overlooked, hopefully this #1 spot gives it a little push. For more upcoming indie game new releases, check out the previous video or click on the recommended playlist, and I will see you after the jump.